I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. I have bubble guts. I do not feel well. I really didn't even want to make a video today, but the show must go on. Leave a like on the video if you sympathize with me working through and I just don't really feel well situation, because I'm going to go right back on the couch after I'm done with this. But there's news to talk about. I have to talk about it because I'm an obsessed person. So basically, we're going to talk about what's going on in the world of video games, the latest and greatest. We're going to start things off with the closure of Sega Forever. It appears that Sega Forever was just a name, a moniker, if you will, because Sega Forever is now officially closed on your cell phone devices. Now, this started out back in 2017. They basically brought some handful of classic Sega games over to your cell phone device, whether it was Android or iOS, and then over the years they added in a bunch of more games. I believe there was about 30 or so games that ended up being added to the service. There was save data in the cloud and stuff like that. Well, Sega announced that they are shutting this down. They will not be adding any more games into the service, but there is a bit of a silver lining. I know some people were initially upset, all digital future, this, that, and the other. But if you have the games via Sega Forever, you can indeed play them offline, so you're not really losing out on anything. So I guess that's a good thing. You know, this came out in 2017. Obviously, the landscape of mobile games has drastically changed since then. We're seeing some really impressive creations on here, but I've heard a little bit of some rumors online and some potential speculation as to the timing of this event, because I can't imagine this was something that was super taxing for Sega to do. But one of the interesting things was some people feel like this could be in retaliation to the Unity changes. Now, obviously, Unity went on record and said they were doing this, that, and the other. People were like, F you, you know, we're not dealing with that, bro. And then, of course, they sort of walked back on it, but they lost a lot of developers. A lot of people that were using the Unity engine ended up saying, hey, you know what, we'll figure out another engine, because we never know when you guys are going to pull something like this again, potentially. And these games for Sega Forever were actually ported over to cell phone devices via Unity. So could there be some correlation between that? You know, who's really to say? I don't think that's something that'll ever come out into the public light. But Sega Forever, they're indeed wrapping it up. And you know what? I think it's okay. You know, the fact that they're allowing you to have offline play with these games, you know, that's the whole problem with the all digital future, is that so many of these games are contingent on having an online connection, whereas, you know, you could still play these games. Of course, always emulate them too. You know, it was just nice to support Sega if you wanted to do that. I've checked out games. I believe I have Streets of Rage 2 on my phone right now, and they're good ports of the game. So rest in peace, Sega Forever. You were not indeed forever. You were just for a couple of years. Did you ever check out Sega Forever titles on your cell phone? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, we have a Nintendo DS cult classic announced for the Nintendo Switch, and it's coming actually very, very soon, as in like, oh, I don't know, is it October 12th? And yeah, it is October 12th. Now, what is the game in question? One of the finest games on the DS, a true hidden gem of the system that's really no longer a hidden gem because it's one of the more expensive games on the Nintendo DS, and that is Dementium the Ward. Now, this was initially released back in 2007. It got a sequel as well, and these games were really cool because for really a myriad of reasons. First off, they were first-person perspective games, essentially first-person, I guess, horror, you know, shooter game is what you would call this, because the action is pretty fast and pretty frantic as you're playing it. But not only that, it was because it was a horror game too. Like, the DS at that time didn't really have a whole lot going on in the spoopy department, and I feel like this was one of the more, you know, scary games on the system. So this is coming to us from a TUI, of course, that is headed by Jules Watcham. They used to be involved with Renegade Kid, this, that, and the other. It's coming to the eShop. It's going to be $20. I think this is a really good game if you have nostalgia for it, but I'm not quite sure like how it fits into the modern era, because like I said, one of the cool things about Dementium, the series, and games like Moon that Renegade Kid also did, was the fact that these were first-person perspective games and then were really graphically impressive for the Nintendo DS. Does it still have that shine, you know, in the modern era? You know, who's to say? This actually also released on Steam as well. It's got, you know, somewhat decent reviews on there. It's really more of a nostalgic trip, but we have seen the rise of these, you know, first-person boomer shooters come along, so maybe there'll be some nostalgia with people for this game. I actually will be checking this out. This was also released on the 3DS as well, so you know they're getting their money's worth out of this title. But I wish there was a Dementium 3. I think they could go, you know, really crazy with that sort of thing. But obviously if you don't have a publisher behind you, it's harder to do these large scale games. But did you ever play the Dementium games? I think they're really cool. I think they're really fun. Let me know what you think of this in the comment section down below, and if you haven't, what do you think of this little trailer that I'm showing you here? Is this a game that you're gonna have on your radar? Let me know what you're thinking. And finally, we talked a few days ago about the potential of Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to the Nintendo Switch. We got a ratings from the Brazilian ratings board for a Nintendo Switch version of this game, and of course, people went absolutely mental over this situation, much like the Nintendo Switch 2 developer who said, oh, we're bringing our game to the Switch 2. That ended up being a joke, and you know, a lot of people looked silly that said that they had a dev kit or a spec sheet. If you watch my video, I cover my bases very well on that, because, well, I never thought that there was going to be, you know, a dev kit or a spec sheet to a one-man development team. Well, the whole Red Dead Redemption 2 situation has indeed been simply a mistake. The Brazilian ratings board has since updated that rating, removed the Nintendo Switch version of Red Dead 2 as potentially coming. So once again, we have another situation, and this happens a lot, and a lot of times you don't have people following up on the situation. They'll talk about the initial story, and then they'll kind of move on, because the update isn't quite as glamorous as the initial thing is concerned. But I just find it weird how many people were just completely sold on this, when in my video I was like, okay, we got to keep an eye out on the South Koreans ratings board, you know, other ratings boards, as if they're confirming this as a thing, then we have something more substantial to go on. And then people were like, oh, it's coming to the Switch 2. All these games are coming to the Switch 2 all of a sudden. Like Far Cry 7, because some rando on the internet said it. That game's not coming out till like 2025 at the earliest, and that's like, I don't know, man. You know, the Red Dead Redemption 2 thing, it would have been cool, trust me. But like I said in my video, I don't know how the hell they would have made that game work. That is a very impressive game in terms of graphics. You know, that's a game that came out on PS4, Xbox One, and you know, it definitely utilized those systems. A lot of Xbox One and baseline PS4 models sounded like they were an air fighter jet taking off and propelling into outer freaking space when playing that game. It wasn't exactly the easiest game to run on these systems. So, you know, unfortunately, it was much ado about nothing. I would have been morbidly curious to see how this game ran on the Switch. You know, I do like Red Dead Redemption 2. I think there's a lot of fun to be had in that game, but it's not coming to the Switch. So my word of advice is always take a look at things with the skeptical lens. You got to be skeptical on this sort of stuff. You got to look at the situation from every viewpoint, or else you just end up hyping yourself up really for no reason, and potentially your audience if you're a content creator. So much ado about nothing. No Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch. You'll maybe see it on the Switch too. I'm sure they'll just be like, oh, Nintendo told them to take it down. Much like they told the developer of whatever the hell that game was, oh, they told them to take it down and take down the interview and backtrack on it. It's like, no, it's a freaking indie game. Nobody cares about this one-man development team that's released one game previously. Like, Nintendo's, I don't know. I'm just kind of going off on a tangent because I have bubble guts. Alrighty, so that's going to do it for today's video. I know this video kind of sucked and was all over the place. I tried to make it as entertaining as possible and chock-filled with information for you to consume. Let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. Are you saddened by Sega Forever closing up shop? I know that, you know, Sega just seems to always be in situations like this, and this is yet another one, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. What do you think about Dementium coming to the Nintendo Switch? I almost said Nintendo DS. The Nintendo Switch. I will be getting this game just because I'm a fan of it on any platform that it comes out on, and of course, Red Dead Redemption 2. Did you believe it was coming? Because if you did, I mean, you're wrong. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, like I said, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers. Throw a like on the video for your boy being sick. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, and feeling better. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.